we have to create the right vibe, the energy, and everybody at the organization has to feel so privileged to be here. It's no other way.
Thanks for listening to the Purely Arsenal podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at Purely Arsenal FP for all the latest Arsenal podcasts.
Welcome to another edition of a Purely Arsenal sit-down podcast. We're back with another win. It was a little bit closer again than we wanted it to be, but against a side that beat us, did a double over us last season. So a little bit of a bogey team there. I personally thought this was going to be a lot harder than the Villa game. Very, very happy to discuss another win. Neil Shah with me. How you doing, Neil?
Hey, Jack. I'm not too bad. Yourself? How you doing?
Yep, very good after that win. It was a little bit nervy. I was that last few minutes, very much so, but Arsenal, we're used to it, aren't we?
That's it. Yeah, just very happy to be here. Thank you for getting me on, and a massive monumental statement win, I think. Huge.
Yep, 7 points clear. Okay, City do play a team without a manager tomorrow, and that probably got told to let their manager go by the team they're playing against, but, you never know what can happen. James Johnstone with me. How you doing, James?
Yes, happy to be here again, and echo the sentiments of Neil. Yeah, get another statement win. Needed to do that. Well, normally we're the team lately that goes after everybody else, but we were first up, and we've gone. There you go, match it. So happy days. Yeah,
it was never going to. I felt this was going to be a harder game. I think Bournemouth are a good side at home. Definitely. I think, despite their excessive winless run that they've had recently, I think they haven't won in like 10 matches or something. It's been a pretty poor run from them. But I think at home, they had the second best defensive record after us before this game. I want to say they'd only conceded 6 at home.
Yeah, the only team that scored more than 2 goals against them are us and West Ham.
Yeah, interesting.
And we're the only 2 sides, I believe, to beat them at home.
Oh. Very interesting, yeah. And I do think he's one of those managers, Areola, a bit like Glasner at Palace, that in big games, they know how to set sides up. That's why they'll end up at a big team very, very soon. No offence to Bournemouth or Palace, but they will. They'll end up at one of the big clubs soon because they really know how to set them up in big games, especially at their own ground. And I think Areola, he knows Arteta well. There's all of that to play into it as well. Obviously, Semenyo is still there. Before we get into the game, sometimes it was a really big game like Villa, I like to sort of talk about what was your feelings after the game. This was obviously a big win, to go 7 points clear. We've had times, like you said before, James, where City have dropped points and we've not taken full advantage. We did so here. What was your thoughts just before we get into it? But we rotated a little bit. We've accused him of not doing so much of that over the last few weeks. He did do that. 2 out of the front 3 changed. Brought Declan Rice back in. I liked it. I liked the fact that he rotated. I thought he could have even done it a little bit more, but I was quite happy with it. What about you, James?
Yeah, no, I had no problem with the rotation whatsoever. I didn't think that he would do that personally, but I was glad that he did so. And then to steal a bit of Neil's thunder again, Neil, the other day you said about the injuries and everything, how it was unprecedented, and you're so correct. But we saw an even more unprecedented event where Kai Havertz is dropped for load management when all he did was sit and watch a game. It is unbelievable. You got a player there that needs to be rested from sitting and watching it.
I'm genuinely starting to think we're making this up to not make decisions of just saying you've been left out of the squad, mate.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah, definitely. But I was just like, what is he? Is he got to go to the chiropractor? Is it the way? Was it his posture in the chair that's done something? Was he slouching too much? Was it how he sat?
It's a little concerning.
I like Neil said, unprecedented events. It struck again. I just couldn't believe it. I went, oh, he's out the team from. He's not even fit enough to sit and watch it now. It's unbelievable.
A bit weird,
there we go. But no, the rotation, like we said, especially in that front 3, you can't always play Saka, you can't always play Trossard or what have you. I thought he'd stick with Gyökeres. I did say to you guys when we did the podcast the other day, he'll stick with him. And I had no no problems whatsoever. And I know you're going to touch on it a bit later on, so I'll wait till then. But I thought Madueke, out of all of them, was very, very bright, especially that first half.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and we'll get to that. But before that, though, we didn't have a great start, Neil. I mean, not a lot going on in the game. It's a big ricket in it from Gabriel. I mean, let's be honest, he's a great player and he made up for it later on, but I don't really know what he's trying to... I think he's trying to switch it over to Timber, but again, it's a bit of a dodgy ball, even if you get that right, but he's basically just completely mishit the ball, Neil, and it's uncharacteristic of the Gabriel we know now. It's more characteristic of the Gabriel maybe of 2-3 years back, and I hope that's just he shakes that off and it doesn't happen again. Fingers crossed. But it was a really poor mistake, Neil.
Yeah, it was quite a shock. I mean, even the commentators on Sky were like, "Oh wow, what's happened there?" I'm sure they were very delighted with it, but they were surprised. I mean, it was as close as an own goal as you could possibly get without it being an own goal, because at the end of the day, that's what it was. It was gifted, literally, to their player to shoot into an open net or pass into an open net. So Gabriel might have just collected the ball and kicked it in the net himself, pretty much. So I don't really consider that anything that they've done at all. That was purely our mistake. Gabriel was definitely trying to pass to Timber. You could see because Timber put his hands up and Gabriel just gave him a look. So I think that's what his aim was. Completely miskicked it. I think it's just one of those things. I don't think there's anything to worry about, Jack. I know it was kind of reminiscent to what he used to do, but I think that was just a one-off blip. It was just a moment of madness and blip, and I don't think it's going to replicate. He's just too good, and the fact that the perfect way to correct something you've done as bad as that is not only reply quickly, but you yourself reply. So no, I'm not worried about that at all. I think he's the best defender in the Prem, if not the Europe at the moment. So no concerns. Just a moment of madness.
Yeah, I mean, before that, I thought Bournemouth were having a fair amount of the ball, but Madueke had a good chance, really good dribble. I mean, he's very good on the dribble, Madueke, but again, it's that sort of final action, though I do think his crossing was a lot better in this game. James, I mean, look, we responded really well, and we responded really well because of Madueke. I think there's also another game, 2 in a row, where I think there's a penalty in the build-up to a goal. I do. I think Nkappi's caught by Evan Nilsson, I think it is, and I think that would get given if we don't score from that, to be honest, because I've watched it and I'm pretty sure Evan Nilsson doesn't touch the ball, but he can make up for it. But it is really all Madueke's endeavour and his dribbling at pace at defenders that really sort of makes it, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And, just to put it out there, obviously halfway point of the season, and a lot of people have been doing their team of the season. True fair for Bournemouth. Now, I know, Neil, you say that you don't really know players outside of Arsenal and what have you, but he has been one of the best left-backs in the league, considering Perkez got sold in the summer. And a bit like a lot of people at Bournemouth, they got pillaged for their back four, basically. He's slotted in there, and I think, because I watch everything for my sins, that's just how I am. He's been one of the best left backs in the league, and Madueke made him look like an amateur yesterday. He absolutely rinsed him, especially that first half. I think they grew into the game, these Bournemouth lads. But yeah, he absolutely tore him to smithereens in a brilliant way. And you mentioned it there, Jack, with Saka. And we all love Saka. Like, every single person on this podcast loves him. But 9 times out of 10 what he's going to do. Nope. Madueke's unpredictable. He'll either do a bunch of step overs and then cut on you inside like Saka does, or he'll go the other way on the byline and whip it. He'll be like a traditional winger that you remember from the old days. So that unpredictability next to his speed and everything, like you said, the minute that guy adds end product to his game, yeah, he'll be magnificent.
Unstoppable,
because he should have had a goal. He knows he should have had a goal. The players all turned around as if to be like, oh, for God's sake, like, why have you done that? But yeah, here he's really unlucky not to come away with an assist. But credit to the big man, massive character. It's not an easy finish, but we've said it for years. We've got some of the best defenders in both boxes Not just, we used to say it about our centre backs, but it's not. It's all of them now. You've seen Timber this season chip in with goals and assists. Neil, I don't have to mention about what Calafiori's like as an attacker, because me and you've had this discussion about 300 million times. And Gabriel, we know what he's like in the box. And yeah, I think Arteta alluded to it when he spoke afterwards about this man's character and the way that he can bounce back from things. Yeah, that was humongous for him. You know, he knew he made a ricket. You could tell he was going to kill himself. But don't worry about that. Go up the other end. And within 6 minutes, bang, it's 1-1. Let's go, boys. You know, and that's really, really important. So yeah, a big goal at a big time.
Yeah, he does make a habit of rectifying mistakes. Obviously, you don't want him to make mistakes in the first place, but he does make a habit of doing that. And, I did think that when he made it, I was like, we need you to make up that error now. We really need you to make up that error. Neil, but it was an interesting first half. I don't think we were at our best, that's for sure. This was the third game of the season where we've actually been sort of out. I mean, I don't want to say outperformed, but out XG'd. So, they had 1.43 to our sort of 1.13. Depending on where you look at it, it might say 1.3 for us, but we were slightly below them. We gave up 15 shots. We had more of the big chances, and I think that's the big thing here. We created more big chances, and we took more big chances. And that's the real big thing. Their only big chance in the game was the ricket from Gabriel. And beyond that, if you think about it, they really didn't create another big chance from the game, despite the fact they scored again. So I do think we kept them at arm's length to a certain degree. But in that first half, Neil, it felt like they were playing for us a bit more than we'd like. It was a bit too chaos ball for me, a little bit. Wasn't as much control from our midfield. He's a very smart manager, Areola, but I just felt our spacing was a little bit off. And we're making some big errors on the ball, like not connecting our passes so well. Felt like it was going to be a really, really tough game at that point.
Yeah, I thought we were quite sloppy, to be honest. I thought we were sloppy. I thought Rice looked really leggy. I thought he'd come back too early. Maybe he should. At that time, I was thinking if he was going to be used, maybe he should come on later on in the game. He didn't look fit. He looked leggy. The passing from pretty much everyone was poor, I felt. And we did give them the opportunity as well. I think there was that chance that Kluivert had, didn't he, after they'd scored. That was a good effort. It just missed. I didn't realise it was so close, and Ray wouldn't have been able to stop that. He wasn't anywhere near it. So, they could have actually done us more damage if we weren't careful. But I think a lot of that was down to us. I thought we were letting them play, and they're a good side, to be fair. I am actually surprised that they're as low as they are in the league. No. I am really surprised at that. I don't understand how they're not higher up, because they actually don't play bad football. They didn't against us. No. They did go for it. They
One of the few sides that do. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I like to see. Don't shut up shop just because you think, we're going to be outplayed and we're going to be outgunned. Just play football. And they actually did that. And I'm in a way, I've got to give them some credit for it. But we just weren't at the races. And this is my worry. Just a quick one, without going too much into it. Look, we are doing tremendously well getting these wins against the teams that we fell to last season. I applaud our team. I applaud our resilience and our grit, 100%. But I'm getting a bit concerned that we are not being able to dominate games for 90 minutes. We seem to have become a bit more of a second-half team. We seem to turn it on in the first 20 minutes of the second half. And that's great. Look, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm happy with 7 points clear of Man City. Who wouldn't be happy? I am. Of course I am. But I'm just concerned, can we sustain this for the rest, next half of the season, when we know that we're going to have the pressure on ourselves because we're going for our first title in over 20 years, when we know that Man City can turn it on? They've done it so many times in the second half of the season. Are we going to be able to stay in a model where maybe we play good for 60 minutes or good for 40 minutes or 45? We've got to really be playing for 90 minutes, guys. And I didn't see that in the first half. I thought we were very, very sloppy. I felt we were tentative. I even felt we were nervous on the ball as well. And I think we were just giving it away too easily, almost as if, oh God, I don't know what to do. Bournemouth are going to hurt us. It felt that way. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it felt that way. So it's got to improve, in my opinion, in a sense that we play well for a longer period of the time. I'm not saying anything else got to improve because we're winning. You can't improve on a win because a win's a win. But we've got to just play better for more and more of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a hard one, James. I mean, what do you think the issue was in the first half? I mean, sure, City against Sunderland reserves in midweek, they struggled very much in the first half. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they did. They had a lot more of the ball in the second half when they brought on a couple of 100 million players. But in that first half against Sunderland reserves, the under-16s, they struggled a lot, you know. So it's weird time of year as well. And this is, you know, there's that stat going around that we've not conceded, touch wood, we've not conceded more than 2 goals in like 2 years under Mikel Arteta, and it's like and this felt threatening at some point. It was this time of year that it happened, wasn't it? Around that, was it the Luton game away? And every now and then around sort of Christmas time, you do get some really interesting sort of topsy-turvy games a little bit as well, where there's just so much football being played that you almost have to sort of manage games and play parts of games. I hope that's what's happening, as Neil says, because you can't get away with sort of only playing bit parts of games. And I felt we were a little bit too open, especially a lot of shots from the edge of our box, just because with no pressure from the midfield too much. That's really how their second goal came about, but we'll get to that. But James, what do you think the issue was in the first half? We corrected it in the second half. We improved massively in the second half, but there was an issue in the first half that I just felt that we were a bit too open.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, you know, a lot of players, again, Neil, spot on, because it's becoming a trend. And I'm not trying to be negative when, you know, over this Christmas period, we've gone 5 from 5. We've scored 11 goals in the last 4. You know, I said about the goal number needs to go up. You got 11 in the last 4, so I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm just adding to what Neil said there, and you've said yourself. No, I think a lot of them, especially that midfield unit, other than Martin Odegaard, I thought Martin Odegaard next to Madueke had a brilliant half. Now, I don't normally like Martin Odegaard coming in deep and collecting from the back 4 or even at times the goalkeeper. But his energy, which is one thing that we always go on about, you know, the way he runs and the distance. Again, I can't get distance covered stats, Jack. If I could, I bet you Rice done maybe 11 plus K, but Odegaard wouldn't be quite shy off it with about 10.5 or something himself. He really helped yesterday, Zubamendi, in that first half. Like, collectively, as a 3 in a midfield, as a unit, I think that's their best performance I've seen all 3 of them collectively play. When you can see that your teammates are struggling, so you sacrifice your own game for the greater good of your team. I thought the 3 of them yesterday was superb at that. And Odegaard led that for me in the first half. You know, you had Rice coming back in, like you said, Neil, looking a bit tentative, like the rest of the team. And Odegaard did a lot of dirty work yesterday, which isn't normally his game or what we want Martin Odegaard doing. But yeah, I thought in that first half, he did that a lot. And yeah, I don't know if it's a case of, you know, we were just too open or what have you, but I think, obviously, seeing Gabriel make that mistake, they were a bit paranoid about that press, and at times I was just like, "What? Why are you letting them press you? This, like, what? You know?" And we were playing out basically towards the centre backs and what, and I was just like, Get it to one of the, you know, keep giving the ball to Madueke. But we just seem to just like, no, I'll play my little 5-yard safe passes first. And then, you know, I get what they're trying to do. You're trying to box them into an area and then you spread it into the other space. But I'm like, this team's too clever for that. This team's too well coached. And, you know, both Basque managers, both sort of similar in their philosophies, really. I'm like, he's going to read this like a book. You know, he knows exactly what we're trying to do to him. His players know exactly what we're trying to do to him. And stroking it about and recycling it amongst yourselves isn't going to do. You need to play this quick. You need to play it quick in defeat and then go at it, because that's where all our joy come from in the first half, was playing it quick and getting it in. I'm like, towards the end of the half, Jack, I was going absolutely, just before he blew the whistle for half time, I was losing my bloody head because I'm like, right, we're on the edge of their box. And then all of a sudden, like I said, it's just been recycled and come back out again. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you lot doing? Like, none of you want to shoot, for starters, which, again, you know, we're on the edge of the box and none of them are, you know, at least have a go. You know, it's freezing cold. I know it hasn't been raining or whatever, but it's freezing cold. That ball might bobble. It might go somewhere. But no, they're just, you know, let's just recycle it round. Let's just carry it going. You know, everyone gets a touch type stuff. But yeah, again, don't know what was said at halftime. Would love to be a fly on the wall. But did we start great that second half? Not necessarily. That was when that Brooks had a very, very good chance. Should have scored it, actually. But then after that, we went, nah. And the gear went up one. So, yeah, I'll let you carry on for the second half.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and Declan Rice was a huge part of that. I mean, he really, like you said, Neil, he looked a little bit maybe not fully fit in the first half, but second half he came out and he did. I mean, I loved his character going over to Gabriel just after. I mean, Gabriel doesn't need it, but it's always nice to see, you know, it's like, come on, let's just rectify it, and long way to go, you know. And it's not easy, 1-0 down against a little bit of a bogey team. Bournemouth are a good team at home, like we said. And you know, their manager's very clever, I think, in the big games, particularly at home, and that was a real uphill task. I love the early response that settled everything, and I do agree. I mean, Declan Rice said, didn't he, at half time, it was really interesting what he said at half time, at the end of the game. He said basically what we were just talking about. He said, I think in the first half that we did the things that they wanted. We kept playing the ball to our left side and they kept trapping us there. That's basically what he said. And I, like you, I was like, keep getting it out of Madueke. They don't know what to do with him. And you know, and he's really, really positive, really direct. He dribbles at speed. I mean, that's where his data was all from, really. Let's be honest. When we signed him, he was up there alongside Doku with you know, with the most, and I think Kudus maybe with the most successful dribbles in the league, and that was really good. But Neil, the second goal, pretty early in the second half, which is I think there's also some data out there on us being really clinical in the sort of first 15 minutes of second half. So I don't have the exact numbers, but maybe you boys do. But where do you want to give the credit, other than the fantastic finish from Declan Rice? I think there's a few other players that deserve some credit leading up to that goal, Neil.
Oh yeah, I think, I can't remember. I'll go out on a limb. I've only watched it once. I think initially the first touch and the build-up was from actually Martinelli. I think
it's a great header, actually. Yes,
came off his head. But then I think that was our friend Gyökeres. And I'm not going to apologise for the way I'd say it. It's a joke, people. I'm not getting his name wrong. I thought he'd done amazingly well. This is one of his strengths. This is what we've been saying. Play to his strengths. Well, that is one of his strengths. He can. If the ball sticks to him, he can hold it up very well, and he did. He controlled it, and it was all that. It was just strength and determination to do that, and he did it really well. It made their defence, I believe, panic as well slightly. But what I loved, we talk about off the ball movement. This is where Rice was perfect. He essentially he was a little bit deeper. But then you saw his run. This is what I love about Rice. He's very clever. He's very clever because he's visually astute. He's visually aware, and he knew where to put himself. And he even said that. I think it might have been him, Jack. I think you've heard the same post-match interview. That, or was it one of you guys saying that sometimes it's actually better to be more of a not still position, but not move around too much. Because you can, if you know initially where to put yourself, it's almost like that striker's instincts. They know a good striker's instinct. They know where to be in the right place at the right time. And I think he did that well. He timed his run perfectly, and he was right there. I believe was it Odegaard that passed the ball to him?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one I really wanted to go in at, because I think that is in a tremendous. I played Odegaard's position, you know, that was my position, and that is such a hard skill to play the ball to someone who's slowly moving towards the box.
That's it.
But to play it with such a deft but yet quick touch, because it has to get between the defenders.
Yeah.
And he has to be able to hit it first time, otherwise the chance is gone. That is such a skill. I mean, it was a bit like it was a bit like the Zubimendi one, wasn't it, against Villa? The timing and the deftness of it was so impressive. When I watched it back, I was like, "That is a touch! What a touch!" And some people look at that just 5-yard pass, but it's just tremendous.
No, it's more than that. Exactly, Jack. No, I agree with you. So yeah, great little layoff from him, and the strike is a peach. It's a peach because, like the first goal that Gabriel scored, there wasn't much room. And by the way, Gabriel scored. That was a striker's goal. It wasn't a tap-in. That was a really good goal from Gabriel. And I think likewise, as equally as hard, there's a lot of bodies in the box for both goals. Rice positioned himself and knew that. I think he said it. He said he saw that the goalkeeper was moving to his right a little bit. And he just had to find that gap through the defenders. Noticed the goalkeeper was going to be sort of on more right-footed or more right-weighted. It would have been difficult to reposition himself, and he just positioned it and almost passed it into the left-hand side of the net, I think. Unbelievable. It was such a great strike. And it's incredible, isn't it? How the team as a whole, I think on the last pod we were saying it was a game of two halves. For Declan Rice, it was a game of two halves. He was a completely different player. So I don't know what Arteta said to him, or it's just the general team talk, and Rice just kind of woke up. But he was magnificent in that second half. He was superb. And that goal was epitomised that, I think, because it was a difficult goal to put through so many players. It really was a great finish.
Yeah, fantastic. And his third, James, I mean, this is the difference, isn't it, between Madueke and Saka? When you watch Madueke this season, there is no doubt, if I'm a fullback, I'm probably more scared about him coming up against me than Saka. But the facts are, Saka comes on, he has 25 minutes in the game, he has the most key passes out of anyone on the pitch, creates a goal, and he gets your goals and assists, and that's what win your games, And I think we're not seeing the best of Saka yet either. That's another thing. And he's probably the one sub that can come off with a lot of credit from this game, because I did think he came on and he probably saw Madueke's performance and said, okay, I've got to really, it's great, that competition on the right. I mean, it's great for the team. I really like it. I love Madueke's comments after the game too about improving and all that sort of stuff. But it's a great, again, it's Odegaard though, isn't it? It's Odegaard that creates that whole opening, and then it's great after that.
Yeah, look, I mean, Declan Rice, like we said in that second half, was class, both from an offensive and a defensive standpoint. Last season, we saw with Liverpool, Gravenberch had one of the best seasons that he's probably ever going to have in his life. And everyone was talking about how this guy is the king of the midfield, not just in the Premier League, but also in Europe. This year's Declan Rice's year, this season. The TNT Sports had a video in the middle of the week, Jack, all about the Euros coming up, and Steven Gerrard, Hargreaves and a few of the others were sat there, and they were talking about what team they would pick to go on the plane for the World Cup. Sorry, not the Euros, my bad. Yeah, the World Cup, sorry. And when Steven Gerrard got to talk about Declan Rice, he was very, very glowing. Said that he's his favourite, one of his favourite players to watch at the moment. Said, he was bought to be a number 6, and he's completely transformed himself. For me, out of all that debate about Lampard, Scholes and Gerrard, Paul Scholes cleared all of them for me. But Paul Scholes, when he talks, because he hates Arsenal, does Paul Scholes still think Sandro Tonali's the best out of all the, when he got asked in the Saicedo or Rice, and he said, no, Tonali's better than both of them.
Yeah, he talks.
I'd love to know what his response is now.
Yeah.
Because, Declan Rice, to be bought, we sat here thinking this guy's going to be our number 6. See you later, Thomas, because Declan, and again, credit to Arteta, a lot of the people that still doubt this man go, yeah, well, what players has he made better, or what players have improved, which is such a stupid thing because they all have. But that is certainly one that you can go, well, he's completely transformed him from being a defensive midfielder into arguably one of the best number 8s in the world, if not on current form, the best number 8 in the world. And going off the third goal, it's a great initial play by Odegaard into Saka. Saka finds him, and again, it's another brilliant finish. Like you mentioned, Neil, with the first one, again, Gyökeres. We said it against Brighton. Why are 7 players from our team attracted to one side of the box and one specific person, because it's just left the complete other area for the man to shoot in. Gyökeres there took 5 of their players away. And again, I know I said it last week where I went, we haven't spent nearly all this money for a decoy runner person. However, it worked there. It worked there to perfection. But no, the third one again, it's just a tremendous finish. And the celebration where he kissed the camera was the Stevie G celebration. So I don't know if that was planned or in what to go off a little bit of what I said there. But yeah, I loved it. And what I also loved a couple of seasons ago, it was a very sunny day as opposed to an absolutely freezing day. Kai Havertz got given a penalty and he scored it, and a new chant was born. And then Kai Havertz just went whoosh into an astronomical level. Declan Rice got a new chant yesterday. Yeah. Something about Bournemouth and we create new chant. And I don't think Declan Rice now for me is at an astronomical level. So I don't know what the next level is up from astronomical. You or Neil are more profound with your words than I am. So you'll probably tell me what the next bit of astronomical is. But yeah, if he can go up even higher, then God, I think the league's fucked, isn't it? That's the nicest way I can put it. If he's if he can ascend even higher than where he's at now, everyone's fucked. Yeah, so, I can't wait.
I love the chant stuff. As you're right about the chant, it's interesting. The Bournemouth fan that I was watching it with today said to me, "Who's Arsenal's star?" Obviously City have Haaland. And I went, "It's him." I said, "It's." I said, this was before. This was at 1-1. I said, "It's Declan Rice." Yeah, this season it's Declan Rice, and then he goes and scores 2. And I went,
and he's arguably on one knee.
Yeah, there you go. Hopefully not. You know what I mean? But
think what he'll do when he's got both his legs. Jesus.
Yeah. And I love the way, even for that not tapping it, because there was players on the lines. It's not that easy, but he's whipping it. He's whipping it like it's 30 yards out. He's whipping it again, and he's got that sort of Beckham-like action when he shoots as well, which is pretty brilliant. But no, his overall play is fantastic, and I think what he's seeing is he's understanding the seriousness of each moment. He said after the game, the Villa win meant nothing if we didn't win today, and that's the sort of attitude we have to have. It can be seen very hard in games like this, coming thick and fast, that you've just got to keep winning, but you do, and you really do. And I thought there was a lot more of a banana skin on this game, knowing how Emery is away from home and knowing how Areola is at home. I certainly looked at this game and with much more of a jeopardy on it than the Villa game in a certain way. So I think going 3-1 up was really big.
Sorry, Jack. Wasn't that the first time he scored 2 goals in the Prem as well?
Yeah. They said that after the game. Even he was a bit shocked by that. Yeah, it's mental.
He was really praying, wasn't he? So I just wanted one more. He was desperate to get his hat-trick, I think.
Yeah.
But if he plays like that, it will come. I think it will come. What also I liked, just quickly, sorry, James, I don't want to add to anything more to what you said, but I also like the fact we talked about how good Odegaard was in the build-up of the second and third. But it also, Timber, I think, was involved in the third one. And it reminded me of the triangles that White, Saka and Odegaard used to kill teams with. And I'm so glad I saw that, because I've not seen that for a long while. But I think there was a little triangle involved there in that build-up. And instead of White, it's Timber. And I just thought, this is very effective. Very effective. Obviously, we want to see just as equal play on the left-hand side, but when we get it like that on the right-hand side, we're almost unplayable. So that was really nice to see as well. So
yeah, and look, if you want to be in terms of Gerrard's goal, I think Gerrard scored double figures 3 times in 3 seasons in the Premier League. He got into double figures, so he's got a little ways to go there in terms of goals. But the expected assist level in the Premier League, the top 2 players are Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice for that. So that's you talk about sort of trends and can things keep, that's a really good sign, because even if they're not top of that level, the fact that they are creating to that level, you hope it starts to even itself out. And in terms of like progressive pass accuracy, I think we've got 3 players in the top. All 3 of our midfielders are in the top 5 in the league. Odegaard's top, Zubamendi's 4th, Declan Rice is 5th. So we've got players that really know how to find key passes in key moments of the game. I think Zubamendi's fantastic at that as well. But at 3-1, you hope actually, for me, watching it a Bournemouth fan, and he was, very, very kind and stuff like that. I was like, oh, just win it. Can we just relax? I know we had a bit of it against Villa, so I shouldn't complain. But I was like, oh, just. But then it's Arsenal, so you obviously can't relax. I don't really know where to place the blame as much. I think again, the second goal is kind of like a sort of clarification or epitome of what occurred in the first half, which was giving them too much space in and around the edge of the box, which wasn't great. I don't know, James. It's a great strike. It's not like right in the corner, though. Should Raya be getting closer to that?
I don't know. I get what you're saying, but at the same point as well, I think it's an absolutely superb
good player, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Player. Yeah. To bring him on, I was just like, bloody hell, you've got to have some confidence in who start, because he was electric. And he has been all season. He's been quite a bright little spark for them. He's a good player, like you said. But yeah, no, it was annoying to concede another. But I will say that last 15 minutes, I thought they were fantastic, Jack, I must say. The way that they fought for the cause, all of them, was superb. Obviously, he made that bold decision to change all his front three at once. Other than Saka, I thought the other two left a lot to be desired. Trossard, for me, again, like you mentioned about Marino the last couple of weeks, about how he's too close to our box and you don't like him there. Trossard, and I get it, he was trying to defend. I don't knock the effort. However, it's just that ain't for you. That ain't your game. And that ain't for you. You're not good there. I don't really want you in there trying to turn people right on the edge of our box or in our own 18-yard or what have you.
A lot of silly stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and I put it in the WhatsApp and I'll say it on here. If Gyökeres come on and gave the performance that Jesus did, he would be at Nuremberg, mate. That was diabolical.
He wasn't great. No, he wasn't
from
great.
Jesus when he come on. And to me, that shows why he ain't starting.
Yeah,
because he can't be trusted with his fitness or how he is in challenges or what have you. He has not got the strength to start clearly, because he got absolutely bodied there, and it was quite embarrassing at points, especially that corner at the end, weren't it, Neil? I think that's the only time I've actually seen you lose it in a WhatsApp. It's normally me that goes mad, but even you were joining in going, what have they done?
Yeah, they completely screwed up.
All you got to do is just waste. You can't even waste time. That's all you got to do is just waste time.
Yeah. Would you have
straight back on it? They were straight back down the other round. I was like, oh, for God's sake!
It was like a minute or two left, wasn't it, at that point?
Yeah. But like you said about Hincapié, didn't have a great game, but he made a challenge just as they were going through right near the end that was massive. So that's what I like as well. They don't switch off. That's what I like. All of them, when need be, they can snap back in and do something that can contribute to the win. And Gabriel, after he made that challenge, just basically turned right to him and was like, "Yes, lad, come on." And that's what I like as well. They all pull each other through. We mentioned it in the last pod about all three of them, Kai, Gyökeres and Jesus, after the game, all hugged each other. There was that nice picture of all the three of them. I like that every single one of the units has got like their own sort of union together, but collectively as the team. And that's the big thing and that's what Merson and Redknapp were saying about with the squad. They just said, look, not only are they individually all good players, but as a unit that this Arsenal team have gone out and obviously built, like Arteta, Berta and everything. They said it's such a good unit, and that is true. That is very, very important.
James, you say that we concede silly goals, and right. Probably yesterday's not the best example because it was the worst of the worst, but generally, when to score against us, it's got to be a decent goal, and I think that's what's changed over the last 3 seasons in sense of improvement. What you just said there, we're switched on now all the time. Whereas before, I think we used to have a lapse in concentration, and then we'd concede a silly goal, and it would throw us, and it would lose us points. We were getting too many draws. I think that's the difference. We're switched on for the full 90, as you mentioned, that great example with Hitachi. So I think that has made a massive difference. And I agree with James. I think that goal, their second goal, I think that was just a great strike, Jack. I don't think you could. The only fault was he had a little bit too much space to actually.
He had way too much space.
Position himself and take the strike. But if you look at it from the behind angle, I don't think there's much more Raya could do. It was just a great strike. If we'd scored that, we wouldn't be talking about their defensive frailties. No. We'd be going on about how great that strike was. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So I don't think we can do anything about that. We have to just say, all right, fair play, and we just had to hold on.
I'm not trying to do Arteta's, clutching like he did with Newcastle and what have you a couple of seasons ago. But that Puma ball that they're using now, it's like it's gone like that, hasn't it? You're looking at it thinking it's going to go one direction, and then it's sort of like flip flapped in the weather and what have you as well. So, yeah, I get what you mean, Jack, because you're so used to you've watched David Raya over the last couple of weeks become Superman with some of the go gadget arms, Superman, whatever you want to call him, with some of the saves that he's made, and it does look routine. But I just think the pace and everything that he hit it with, I just think it's a superb goal, mate. It's one of them where you just got to hold your hand, a bit like the one that Bayern Munich scored against us at home in the Champions League. You just got to put your hands up and go, oh, bloody hell, what a hit. That's just some goal. Like, it happens at times. It's just, wow, okay, yeah. That's a pretty special goal, that. But yeah, no, still got the win, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, a couple of funny things at the end were obviously their player running into Gabriel's elbow, disgraceful. Went down for a minute.
By the way, I didn't know that he was already on a booking.
Adley was.
Supposedly. So I was like, well, for me, that's got to be...
Yeah, I'll look that up right now, James.
That's got to be his second yellow. Someone told me he was on a booking. So I was like, well, that's got to be a second yellow, because that's disgusting.
He was a sub, was he?
I think so.
Yeah, he was. Do they show yellow cards on FOTMob? I'm on FOTMob. I can't even see it.
Let me grab...
I'll let you look it up. I'm on who scored as well, but I'm not even seeing disappear.
Yeah, he was booked.
Yeah, that's shocking. That, I mean, the other one that was a bit dodgy was Semenyo pulling Declan Rice back, who was also on a booking. I mean, that didn't even get a free kick. Given a free kick, I think it would have been a bit harsh. Actually, in fairness to Semenyo, I don't think his first booking was a booking, so I'll let him off with that one. But what was I going to say? Yeah, that was ridiculous, because that cost them a minute of their injury time. Adley running into Gabriel's elbow. I mean, that's completely feigning injury. Absolutely ridiculous, that. And the other one was, I would be a little bit upset with the way the game ended if I was them as well. I have to say, like, when it ended, I looked at him and I went, that's pretty dodgy. I mean,
I was laughing.
But for us, fantastic. It was overtime. And I did think, you cost yourself it in a way because of your bloke falling down on the ground for a minute during injury time. Do you know what I mean? So I actually think, in a way, yeah, it was a bit of karma there. But that was quite funny. I don't know if you want something to say there, James.
Well, we got shagged up there last season by the refs.
Oh, so big time!
For us to get something back, yeah, I'll take it. I don't care. Yeah, do it. I sat there and was just like, I was like Neil. I was like, I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah,
I was like, I'm sorry, I don't care. I don't care. Yeah,
and the other thing, for sure.
Yeah, the other thing. Do you remember in the olden days? I don't know if they still do it. Do you remember? I'm sure you do. You have to mark the X where you think the ball is. Find the ball. Yeah, do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Like Soccer AM stuff.
You could win. Yeah, you could win 50,000. I remember the older days. They used to have it like in like newspapers and things. And I can't remember, but before the old internet and all of that stuff. Find the ball. That guy was trying to find his elbow, wasn't he? He was trying to find his elbow. He was like just like that. Where is it? Let me find it. Oh, he's hit me. What kind of bullshit is that?
Nah, it's proper disgraceful.
He should have got carded for that. He should have done.
He should have done, for sure. So they got away with one there, and that didn't really get a lot of mention from the commentary on my end anyway. But yeah, delighted when we won it. The last thing I want to discuss...
Jack, don't even mention commentary, mate.
Oh, I heard Don Goodman was dreadful, wasn't he? Was it Don Goodman?
Again, he's had the Sunderland game and this game on Sky for Arsenal this season. And in both, he is up there with his voice isn't as annoying as Carragher or Neville's. He's not like a cheese grater to the ears, but just the stuff that he says.
Why does he hate us so much? What did Don Goodman
I have no idea.
Played for Wolves, didn't he?
Yeah, but I'm like, you are shit, pal. Like, you are absolutely shit. I'm like, no wonder Sky's under threat of losing the football and everything else that they've got. Because I'm like, employing you, I'm like, I don't like to see anyone ever lose a job or lose the way to feed their family or whatever. But I'm like, you leave a lot to be desired, pal, because you are abysmal.
Yeah. How's he getting on? That's the first question, though, in the Sky Sports interview. How much do you hate Arsenal? Oh, yeah, you were hired. Yeah, thanks a lot. Cheers. So there's there's obviously a reason for that.
It said everything that I would have rather Smudger back. And, I wasn't old enough to remember Smudger as a player. Obviously seen the goals and seen the contribution that he did have. However, I'm used to Smudger as the pundit and the commentator on my FIFA games, and he's a disgrace as well. I'm sorry. If he listens, I'm sorry, Smudger, but yeah, the way you are towards Arsenal, pal. You wouldn't think he's an ex-player. You wouldn't know it.
Yeah, Smith's a disgrace. Ever since I think something went on with him post leaving the club in terms of some connections perhaps he had with the club, because the way he talks about Arsenal is shocking. But I know some people, Arsenal fans, don't see it either, which is very odd. I don't really understand. I'm like, you don't listen to it. Bring Frank McLintock back. Just get him back on, for crying out loud. Him and Keown, lovely jubbly. A couple of things. Obviously, Ranieri, again, not in the squad. Be a great club for him to go to, Bournemouth, in my opinion. But I'd love a type of club like that. Plays in the right way, good manager, likes playing young players, that kind of thing. Him or Glasner at Palace, I'd like that a lot. Got to get him a loan to a team that plays offensive football in the league this season. That's what we got to do in January. And the other thing is obviously Eze not seeing the pitch again. That's quite interesting. I think it's not that surprising, because at 2-1 up and the brief time we were at 3-1 up, I don't think he would have seen it as an opportunity to bring Eze on. Obviously, some people will look at the Odegaard sub and say, why didn't you do it there? But I want to say it was it 3-2 at the point of the Odegaard sub? It might have been. And at that point, you kind of like, you're not going to bring off someone that's you have concerns with off the ball. I do think he's been treated a little harshly since the Villa game. He made that error and then has only sort of played in one game. I think it was Wolves at home. And I expect now, though, he won't see much minutes until the Portsmouth game, to be honest. That's what I would expect. And he's got to kind of re-earn that trust again. It's a little bit harsh. I do think that. I'd like to have included him a little bit more in the group. Probably could have seen him against Villa, I feel like, at 3 or 4-0. I'm trying to remember what we did, but feels like a time we could have seen Eze and we didn't. So that's a little frustrating. I don't know if you boys got anything to say on that before we do predictions.
I just think there's plenty of time left. We've got so many games. Yeah. We've got how many more left? Now we've got another 9 in January, or is it 8 more? It's ridiculous.
I think it's 8 in January left. Is it 9 left?
I think
it was 9 total in January, so maybe this was 1. No, maybe you're right.
So look, he's got to use him. We've got to use him in the 9 games left in the last, and it's such a cold and horrible month of the year. He's got to use him. I'm sure he will. We've got Portsmouth in the FA Cup as well, haven't we? So
League Cup games, etc.
Yeah. So, and 4 away games on the trot as well. Oh man. So it's tough ask. I think he'll get his chance. I'm sure he will. He's too good a player not to. He's too good a player. No matter what he's done to the mistakes he's made or the effort he hasn't put in, end of the day, he's still a very, very good quality and class player, in my opinion. He showed that against Tottenham. He was fantastic. So, there's no way you can keep him away. He's got to feature at some point. That's all I'll add to that. Yeah.
Predictions. Some interesting games tomorrow. That'll be interesting. I mean, nice to be able to watch it with, hope more than expectation, and in a relaxed way, knowing you've done your job. Obviously, be watching Chelsea go to City, managerless, soulless, corruption up to the eyeballs. But we'll watch it anyway and have a laugh either way, I guess. But big game for us though on Thursday against Liverpool. Yeah, they've not had a great season so far, but they're a very dangerous team. So it's going to be a big game. It's a huge game for us. Thursday night is an interesting one to have. I think they're doing something pre-game as well. It'll be interesting to see what changes we make. I expect Saka and Trossard come back in. Beyond that, I don't think I'm seeing too much unless Calafiori's back. We don't know what's wrong with Calafiori, by the way. He tweaked something, not enough to not party on New Year's Eve, but he's tweaked something. So again, I like the clarity.
Yeah, I've heard of the metatarsal. I've not heard of the Macarena injury. He seemed to have. I can't believe that, man.
I know.
I'm like, that bit in The Office where he goes back to the party and he's talking and then all of a sudden he like starts doing that. That's what I was like. I was like, "Nah, I'm injured, can't play today. All right, boys." I was just like, I'm like, how can you tell us, Mikel, that he's not fit enough to? I'm like, I've just seen him on bloody Twitter. I'm like, half of Twitter's in bloody going mad for it in the bar at New Year's Eve, and he's like, "Oh no, can't play. Injured." I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, what's going on here?
Like you said with Hincapié, I don't think he had a great game today. I mean, Calafiori's our starting left back, so it would be really nice to get him back, but it doesn't sound likely. But Neil, massive game. What's your predictions? Arsenal, Liverpool, Thursday night.
Got to win again. We got to reverse the earlier season sort of like where we failed or obviously lost against them, which I think we should have won at their ground. We've got to win. We've got to put that right. If we're going to win this league, we've got to reverse the results or the bad results, in my opinion. We've been doing well so far. We got our revenge on Villa very quickly, within 24 days or whatever it was. We've now got to get revenge on Liverpool. So yeah, for me, it's a must-win to keep that pressure on, because I'd hoped to see Chelsea get something out of today, but I can't see it. I think City will get the win, so it'll be back to 4 points. So we've got to make sure.
They play again on Wednesday, City, don't they?
Right. So they might then be 1 point behind us. So I think we've got to get that win. I'm going to go. I'd love to see us better than one day. So sod it. I'm going to do a crazy one again. Not crazy. I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to go 3-0, and I'm going to say first goal will be Calafiori.
Calafiori's back.
He scores against the big teams, right? And if he plays, I think he's done it a couple of times, hasn't he? So, 3-0 Calafiori.
He's very good against teams from the northwest. I will add that for Calafiori. City scored a goal. United scored a goal. So he's good against northwest teams.
That's it.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play or he doesn't start, then I'll say Saliba. I want to go for a bit of a left field one. I'll say Saliba, but if he's played, it's going to be Calafiori.
All right, gotcha. You covered all bases. Fingers crossed. James, what about you?
Yeah, I am going to not be as confident as Neil. Sorry. I'm going to go for an Arsenal 2-1. And the way that all their fans have been slagging him off and talking about how shit he is, I want poetic justice. I think Victor Gyökeres is going to go up there. He's going to body Van Dijk. He's going to roll him and he's going to smash one in. So I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal, Victor Gyökeres.
All right.
Keep the winning. Like Neil said, need to get the revenge on them. Yeah, we do. Yeah. I don't want at the end of the season, if we still have the shiny trinket, I know what them bastards are like, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, but you didn't beat us, lad. You didn't fucking beat us." Oh, shut up. Don't care. Fuck off. Get back in your box. Go home. Yeah. Get them beat. Beat.
Fingers crossed. I'll go 2-1 as well. 2-1 Arsenal. I'll say we'll sneak it. I'll go Odegaard. 2-1 Arsenal, Odegaard.
Mate, he's on a run. That's something I forgot to mention. Last 3 games, what is it? 2 assists, 1 goal. I asked for numbers. He's gone. Yeah. I'm watching you. I'm on you, James.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yeah. And again, you've got to start getting up to that. He's always underperforming in that data area where he's most progressive pass in the league. He's off the charts in terms of his progressive passes and his creation, and he leaves a lot on the table with that. And we just got to start sort of those numbers need to start coming to fruition, really. So hopefully, like you said, the start.
One thing I wanted to add as well, Jack, before we finish and wrap up, Arsenal this season, outside of the top 7, played 13, won 13. So that's 39 points there. This time last season, we drew with Brighton, lost to Bournemouth, drew with Fulham, drew with Everton, and then drew with Brighton again. So we had 11 out of 15 there. So to get a 28-point swing in results compared to what we did last season against similar sort of teams, I think that's massive.
Yeah,
I was like, that needs pointing out. You know, I'm loud enough to sit in here when I critique them, so I've got to be loud enough to praise them. And I think, that's a huge improvement against teams that we've dropped results. And again, as well, second time this season that we've been behind away from home, and we've come out with a win.
Yeah,
so
Newcastle, the other one. Yep.
Yeah, happy with that. Yeah,
massive. No, away games are not easy in the Premier League, absolutely. So it was a big result. Let's hope for another really big one on Thursday. We're at Purely Arsenal FP on Twitter, Purely Arsenal on YouTube. Please subscribe there. Thanks for all your comments after the Villa one, and your likes and your listens. We appreciate that. No ads as usual, and we'll be back hopefully after the Arsenal-Liverpool game. Up the Arsenal. Fingers crossed. Keep the faith, boys.